Welcome to Deep Thought. Being around real power. Yeah, I'm back to doing this after a while. For those who follow me on my other channel know, I had a stroke back in October and everything. But I'm getting the strength back. And I said, you know me, I like to philosophize. Like to talk about stuff. Don't like, relationships. Yeah, a lot of people into that. A lot of guys want to get that woman. But I like to just throw stuff out to think. And I like people rolling with me who thinking. Yeah, let me straighten this up a little bit. Somewhat. Ooh. Yeah, well, you know what? It is what it is. Anyway, being around real power, because anybody who really knows me, really talk with me, I'm about power. About having power. Because, it's power. It's really a power just to be in a position where I could take off for a few months and bills stay paid. I mean, I was not paid until through August. Not August, not that far, but a few months down the road. That's power right there. But it's not even so much as having power yourself, but just understanding when you're around power. Because let's just be real. Most people out here are powerless. Most people out here, they want to feel like they have some power and feel like they can do what they want. It could be based on their race. It could be based on their gender. It could be based on their physicality. It could be based on having a little bit of money. You know? But here's the reality. Most people don't have real power. They might think they have power. But I want y'all to really think about a lot of people don't. A lot of people are very dependent. First of all, how many people are working on a job where they can be laid off that morning? They might think they have some power there, but then there's always somebody there who can lay them off. Who can tell them, hey, you know what, you going home. What kind of power you got? Or even if you got your own business, how much power do you really have? You know? Are you in a position where people are, keeping you in business, spending money on you based on whatever your whims are, or you're very dependent on them? Is the customer always right? Now, you could have some leverage, though, and that's power in itself. But do you really have it? Now, I'm going to tell you what. One of the things I thought about this decades ago. Because I remember I was around this guy. He was a brother. And I said something was different about him. Something was different about him. Come to find out, he's from old money. Old money, brother. Old money. And it was like the way he walked, carried himself. He didn't have any deference in him. He walked around like he owned the world. And it wasn't an arrogance thing, but it was just his background. He's coming from money. He's coming from real power, influence, and all of that. And it's a different vibe. Because when you're around people who have real power, they move differently. They walk differently. They hold their heads differently. If you look at a lot of people, they don't have that. Look at how they walk. It's seriously just something as simple as how they walk. They don't walk like they own anything. And it's not like they trying to be humble or anything. They walking like they waiting for the next order. Indeed, most of the population, let's just be real, most of the population is sheep that are herded by shepherds. Most of the population. Most of the people are just following along whatever their I don't know whatever the fences that have been set up. They're following along the institutions. They're following along the dress style, how they dress and everything. It's not according to their own whims or their own desires, but rather what society says, oh, this the hot thing. Because you got some people, let me use that for an example. It might seem very basic, but you might have some people who say, well, that's not in style, that's not in style. Is it your style or you following somebody else's style? Who you really following? And what kind of power you got if you dressing according to what someone else says? And people might say, well, I'm doing it well. They might, if you talk to them a while, they might say, well, I'm doing it to appeal to a certain type of woman or a certain type of man, or a mate, whatever, however they want to say it. But here's the problem with that. Here's the problem. How they know the person wouldn't be appealed to who they really are? Because there are people who are attracted to real power. And that's the thing. And see, that's the thing. Sometimes when you're around real power, and I thought about this when I met this young man, because I couldn't think it. Because he actually saw the same thing in me, because he couldn't figure me out. In fact, I've had several people, scores of men and women over the years trying to figure me out. They weren't used to it. But that's because I think in terms of power, Now, some people might say, well, that's an alpha. Well, maybe under their thing, maybe, I don't know. That's up for debate. But, that's the thing on this channel. We think about it. A true alpha. Well, let's use that. Let's use that, even though I'm not big on those terms. A true alpha, a true someone who's up there. Do they have any power? Or they use the term sigma. Does that sigma have any power? They say, well, they're on their own. They're up there with the alpha. Are they? Do people move out of their way? Can they influence people? Do they have control over their life? When I was doing the Sovereign Man videos on my channel, the main thing was having control over your life. That's power. That's power. And, and when you're around that, I'm just saying, the title of this joint was just being around real power. That's in itself powerful. Cliche maybe to say it that way, but that's powerful. Because you see something different. Like when you're out and about, pay attention to people. Are they really walking around like that they look good or something? Because you can get somebody who might be short statured walk around with some power. But are they walking around with power? They walking around like, hey, they have some control over their lives? Or they walking around like they're a follower? Are they walking around according to an offense? Indeed, I know a mentor, he had talked about the rich people of this world. Many of them have so much money, they walk without any bounds. Meanwhile, people who are struggling, they walking around in a certain way. In fact, I'm going to tell you how deep that is. Pay attention, if you're in a poor neighborhood, pay attention to how they move around. If you really pay attention to how they move around. Because say you only make a certain amount of money. There's certain places you can't go. There's certain ways you ain't going to behave. But if you're around somebody who really had power, somebody who could walk, they can worry about their bills. In fact, there was that famous, infamous interview Cat Williams did with Shannon Sharp. And yeah, I ain't going to get into the interview itself, but he said, he was talking about how rich he was. He said, he can take care of anything he needs, he can take care of it. He really has some power. That's part of, the thing there. He can say, he said he ain't worried about any repercussions. That's power right there. He can buy what he wants. He said if you don't have something, you just don't have it at that moment. But that's real power. That's real, that's the purpose of money. Money's a tool. Another question. Y'all know how I flow on here. Well, I want y'all to think about that. Just being around real power. We have to start thinking about that some more. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I'll get back with y'all. I'm probably, starting back up. It'll be just 2 days a week on this channel, all right? 2 days a week. Just starting back up. And, building my power back up, all right? So anyway, think on everything I was saying. And I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.